Welcome to Valley Newsline for the week of April the 8th, 2007. Hello, I'm your host, Ron Whitlock. Several years ago, Susan Combs, the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Texas, came to the Rio Grande Valley and told Valley Newsline that the valley had sustained a loss of $1 billion in economic activity because of the Mexican water debt.
The Valley of Texas has lost $1 billion in economic activity because we didn't have the water in quantities we didn't have at the time we needed, which meant that the crops couldn't be grown and the economic ripple couldn't be seen. And this has been devastating to the valley. And it's really not an overstatement to say that we cannot survive without water, and it's the number one thing that faces our future in Texas.
Texas Agriculture Commissioner Todd Staples indicates that he's watching the situation involving two bills now working their way through the Texas legislature. One bill, which involves the voluntary assumption, purchase, and/or lease of water rights of irrigation districts as areas are urbanized within irrigation districts. Another bill involves the abolition and takeover of an irrigation district in the McAllen by the City of McAllen, Hidalgo County Water Control and Improvement District number 3 district.
Ron, I'm very concerned that we maintain a balance so that agricultural producers have the resources that they need to continue to produce quality fruits and vegetables like this grapefruit here today from the Rio Grande Valley. And it's so important as any legislation moves forward that the irrigators, the producers, and the municipalities who are experiencing real growing pains continue to stay at the table, to analyze its impact, and to address all possible concerns so that we can continue to have such a prominent role and to continue our core economic base, which is really our agricultural production.
On the program today, we have the Mayor of the City of McAllen, Richard Cortez, and the General Manager of the McAllen Public Utilities Board, Roy Rodriguez, here to tell you why the City of McAllen thinks it's important to take over the Hidalgo County Water Control and Improvement District number 3, which exists predominantly in their city's corporate limits and has 89% of its revenues derived from the City of McAllen. Welcome to the program, Roy. Welcome to the program, Mayor Cortez.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. Happy Easter to both of you. Thank you. Tell me, first of all, why does the City of McAllen want to take over the Hidalgo County Water Control and Improvement District number 3?
It is part of our long-term goals and objectives are to have a reliable source of water that's secure, and we want to be able to provide that water to consumers at the most efficient way and the most economic way. And the best way to do that is for the McAllen PUB to take over the administration of the water district, because in essence what has happened is simply almost a pumping district now of simply pumping water from the river to the City of McAllen. Of course, we do have some farmers that are still irrigating in an area, and the takeover by the city does not change our duties and responsibilities to those farmers that will continue to receive the same services, the same water than they would at the hands of 5 other board members.
Why does the city decide it wants to take over this particular district as opposed to one of the other 4 districts which also exist and are located within your corporate limits?
Because substantially the district number 3 has been urbanized, meaning that many years ago when it was first enacted and started servicing this area, it was an agricultural area. But because of urbanization of the City of McAllen at a very rapid pace, basically there's really no more of a need to provide irrigation waters to farmers because they're basically all gone.
What advantages, and I'm asking this question to both yourself, Mayor, and to you, Roy, the General Manager of the McAllen Public Utilities Board, because you're the guy that crunches the numbers, even though the mayor crunches numbers on a day-to-day basis, you crunch them within your department. What advantages would there be to ratepayers and taxpayers within the Palm City if it takes over this particular irrigation district?
Well, simply, Ron, I think I could answer it this way. We run a very complicated organization, both the McAllen Public Utility and the City of McAllen, a total of 1,800 employees, probably 8-10 engineers. We just have the wherewithal with the staff, with the technology, with the financial position that we find ourselves in, to just run that organization and incorporate it into the City of McAllen in a much more efficient manner.
It's become a redundant jurisdiction over there. And we say redundant is they have a manager, they have an accounting staff, and they have operational employees. Obviously, the operational employees are not redundant, but management and administrative offices are redundant. So if we're paying a high price for a district manager, and I believe that that amount is a pretty good chunk of money that they're paying, basically what it means to us is simply this. They go open a valve over there in the river. That valve would release water to our reservoir. When our reservoir is full, then they close the valve, okay? We don't need to pay $80,000 a year to have a manager to manage that person to go open the valve to fill up our reservoir. That is one way that we will have savings.
Isn't that oversimplistic, Mayor, as to how the system operates?
Well, it is, but it's almost that simplistic. But let me give you another savings to the taxpayers of McAllen. And I hope that the taxpayers of McAllen appreciate this, because we're here because we weren't able to resolve it locally. We told the board, says, look, we're not interested in taking you over tomorrow. We want you to will this water district over to the citizens of McAllen, because if we're paying you this last year 89%, tomorrow is going to be a higher percentage because it's getting more and more urbanized. We want to make sure that whatever resources you're accumulating accrue back to the citizens of McAllen. So will those things over to us? They said, no, we're not willing to do that. So going long term, how can we as a city and as a water utility provider have a secure source of water, practice conservation, and have it as cheap as possible to our consumers if we're dependent on someone that sees no merits in having a plan, an exit plan that will accrue those assets to us. So it's that type of thinking that has forced us to go to the legislature and try to get the legislature to do the right thing.
What has been the breakdown, Mayor, because you have two former mayors, Mayor Leo Montalvo, just your predecessor, and former mayor of over 20 years, Othel E. Brand Sr., both of whom are now serving on this Water District Board, and both of whom indicate that they are in opposition to the takeover of their former city, where they filled your office, that of City of McAllen, and they're now opposed. How does this make you feel, having two former mayors in opposition to what you're trying to accomplish, and are you confused about it in any way?
The problem that I have with both of them is that I asked both of them the same question. What are your concerns with simply substituting you 5 board members with 5 board members of the PUB? Everything else stays the same. What are your concerns with substituting 5 board members right now with other 5 board members that are elected by more than 5,000 people, the citizens of McAllen, as to board members that are elected by less than 100? Tell me what's wrong with that. Help me understand why you think that's wrong, and I will back off. I have not received an answer from either one of them why that's wrong. Well, if they can't answer a simple question of what's the difference between having this 5 board members and this 5 board members, then I really question what is the essence of their dispute with us as to why it doesn't make any sense. So yes, I'm confused as to why they're opposed to this.
Now, Roy and Mayor, what are the efficiencies that you think you individuals, your entities, you as the mayor, you as the general manager of McAllen's PUB, bring to the table to operate the water district and the city of McAllen's water needs and for the farmers' needs in the future more effectively and efficiently than is currently being done?
How can it be that a municipality of this size and this importance not be part of decision-making around a table about what happens to the future of the Rio Grande River? We currently do not have that luxury because we are not a diverter of water from the Rio Grande. If we do become a, excuse me, a diverter, then we have input. And when you consider the number of employees that we have, the expertise the City of McAllen and the PUB holds by these folks that we've got, the experience, it just makes sense that by taking it over, we'll become more effective and more efficient.
We did receive an email at Valley News Lion, asked the Hidalgo County Water Control Improvement District No. 3 manager why they should continue to exist as a separate entity when for all practical purposes they have only one client, the City of McAllen. Asking why he thinks the district should continue to exist when they were originally incorporated to serve farmers. In reality, this extra layering of expense is an additional tax on the people of the City of McAllen. We will be seeking out the manager of the district and get his response in a future edition of Valley Newsline. Now, Mayor State Representative Veronica Gonzalez is concerned that her bill, which involves a voluntary mechanism for municipalities valley-wide all the way from your community all the way down to Brownsville, has the ability to lease and or buy the water rights from irrigation districts as they're urbanized, whereas your bill would mandate the takeover of this water district within your city. Now, we talked to Veronica Gonzalez at her Capitol office, and here's what she had to say.
There's a bill that dissolved Irrigation District Number 3. That's a separate bill. That's the bill that Representative Flores was carrying. My bill was the one that just converted the water, allowing you to make sure that you, as a municipality, that you're going to have water available. And it basically was a compromise bill that was reached between irrigators and municipalities over 18 months to come up with something that both sides could live with.
Do you agree with her that this may impact on her bill, the Flores bill, which is a takeover bill, and her bill, which is more of an accommodating voluntary procedure and mechanism?
Ron, I would simply be speculating, and I'm going to let Representative Veronica Gonzalez do her job. Mr. Rodriguez and I have to do our job. And our job is to find an efficient flow of water to McAllen, a reliable source of water to McAllen at the lowest cost. And in order for us to do that, it's important for us to take control of a water district that has basically become a redundant political subdivision that is no longer needed. It is consistent with the wisdom of the legislature that says we recognize that over time we've passed laws that need to be out of the books. They call that the sunset provisions. Well, in essence, what we're forced in the legislation is to look at water districts in Texas that have become urbanized and primarily become pumping districts to sunset them.
Senate committee did vote out both his bill, the Flores bill, and Veronica's bill, both of whom are sponsored by Eddie Lucio and Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa. Now, we want to take you to the hearing that was held in Austin last week and let you participate and understand exactly what transpired there between Senator Hinojosa and Mayor Otha Lee Brand Sr. and the chairman of the board of the Water District, Otha Lee Brand Jr.
Senator Hinojosa, and I guess we'll hear some testimony from people. We're getting all this stuff from the Farm Bureau, and I know how it goes around here that we like to have local bills be local bills, but the Farm Bureau, have you talked to the Farm Bureau about this?
I have not personally talked to the Farm Bureau. I'll be glad to work with the Farm Bureau. I've worked with them very well in the past.
Okay, yeah.
I have no problems in dealing with them.
My name is Otha Lee Brand Sr., and I'm a member of the Water District Board, but I represent the farmers, and the farmers generally that I know are not in favor of it. The Farm Bureaus have not been properly contacted on time. The farmers have not been properly contacted.
Mr. Brand, if you'd please give your name and who you represent today.
Otha Brand, I'm president of the board for Water District Number 3 in McAllen.
Welcome.
Thank you. Gentlemen, the district is about a 9,000 acre district. We have a little over 6,000 acres of that district that is in the city limits of McAllen. We have approximately 900 acres of this district that are in the city of Hidalgo, and the balance of it is still outside either one of the boundaries of the cities. Every issue that we could possibly have, and that we had when I ran, we resolved and continue to resolve and continue to try to have a working relationship regardless of any legislation. Okay. We provide 57% of the water consumed by the city comes through our district. Now understand that all that water is not our water. The reason we have such a high percentage is because we have the only ability to keep McAllen running solely by ourselves.
But you're not the city.
We're a water district just like any other utility company, electric company, gas company. We deliver a commodity to the city of McAllen. We have 13 farmers. They all said, no, we do not want the city of McAllen controlling this water. The city came back and said, well, that's just agriculture against city. Well, you know what? It's not.
If you got 13 farmers and you heard the testimony said they would pay or they would provide and guarantee the price to those farmers for the water they needed, and why would you be against the
Let me tell you, because
most of your money comes to the city of McAllen.
And sir, that's not the point. The point is the people we serve. The 110 domestic users in our district are all 100% McAllen people. Everybody on my board is McAllen people. They're all citizens. The vast majority, 104, said no. We do not want the city of McAllen controlling our water. We have the largest distribution system to the city, and we do not do the same thing. We divert water out of the river and we deliver it to the water treatment plant. They are only able to treat the water and put it out as potable water. We have two separate responsibilities, totally different. They are not the same. McAllen has admitted they cannot run it as efficiently as we do. Their own city attorney has said that too, and their city manager has told that to our face in open meeting.
Mr. Brand, I'm going to try to stop asking you questions, but that is so off base. I mean, with the engineers they have, I mean, you all don't even have elections to the public. You know, you certify the same boards. So, you know, so I would just.
Mr. Enosa, now, sir, that's almost publicly accusing us of criminal acts, sir. That is not correct.
I didn't say you committed anything criminally.
Well, you said we didn't hold elections.
Sir, when was the last time you had an election, public election?
When I got elected, and the last time Leo Montalvo got on this board.
Mayor, as you can see, there was some concern at the time because the Farm Bureau is sending faxes to members of this committee concerned about the fact that the Farm Bureau is of the opinion that the takeover bill, your bill, would set a bad precedent in their opinion, based on their opposition letter, of setting a bad precedent not only for the valley but the entire state. You agree?
If the Farm Bureau or anybody else look carefully at the bill has been carefully worded so that it will not affect anyone other than almost a total urbanization of the water district. It's only after almost the total urbanization of the water district will municipalities be able to take it over. They ought to be thanking us for doing this because this provides an orderly way to make the transition from what used to be an irrigating type district to an urban pumping district in an orderly fashion. So I think people are just simply not well informed of this issue.
The Hidalgo County Farm Bureau has come out in opposition to the water takeover bill proposed by State Representative Keno Flores of the Hidalgo County Water Control and Improvement District number 3 by the City of McAllen. Here's our interview with Dale Murden, who says he's concerned that agriculture producers were left out of the debate.
This does affect agriculture and would be a bad precedent for agriculture, and Farm Bureau understands that, and they are a large voice for agriculture nationwide.
Now that you have engaged the Farm Bureau and they are sending faxes to the legislators and the senators involved in both of these bills, what's your next effort going to be, Dale?
Well, I guess we're just going to have to monitor it and just talk to as many congressmen as we can in opposition to the Flores bill. I believe the Flores bill is introduced every session anyway, so I think people are very familiar with and understand that they simply want to take over the McAllen district. So I'm a little disappointed in Representative Flores' I guess what you referred to, marginalization of agriculture. I mean, after all, it was agriculture that brought the valley to where it is today. It was agriculture that put those systems in place. It was agriculture that paid for those systems. And it's agriculture that's still piggybacking water on top of its irrigation water to get to these municipalities. And a hostile takeover of an entity that's been in place for over 80 years is just wrong and would not be a good move for Texas.
Roy, we understand you were on the task force that came up with the bill that Veronica Gonzalez is carrying forward in the Texas legislature at this moment to try to effect some kind of a mechanism for the orderly voluntary takeover of water districts' water rights throughout the Rio Grande Valley, throughout the 28 districts that exist here.
That's right, Ron. I am currently the president of the South Texas Water Utility Managers Association, which basically represents the largest cities in the Rio Grande Valley and the largest water supply corporations that include North Alamo, East Rio Hondo, and Olmito. We took 18 months to try to work that thing through. We had 4 members of the Irrigation Districts Managers Association and 4 members of the Utility Managers Association. And why was I part of both bills? Because it's the right thing for the entire Rio Grande Valley. This bill benefits the entire valley and provides a mechanism for the proper, consistent, efficient conversion of ag water to municipal water. That is different than what we're trying to do in McAllen. In McAllen, we're trying to provide a mechanism, and we believe that this is going to be a real success story, whereby as urbanization continues in the Rio Grande Valley, and it will, we will have a way to make that orderly transfer of management. So I believe that both bills are separate and apart, but they both benefit the valley. So I was part of both of them.
The concerns and comments that we are receiving at this point in time seem to be from producers who are saying they were left out of the mix and out of the debate. Did your organization and your group meet with any farmers, growers, ranchers who are the end user of the water from these water districts?
You know, Ron, we did have some preliminary discussions with them, but the important fact here is that historically this transaction, which is really on paper, is between an irrigation district and a municipality. And that shouldn't change because those are the two entities that are impacted by this bill. This bill does not impact a farmer, does not impact private property owners of Class B rights.
Are they going to be guaranteed that their water rates will not go up, or with any other provisions being made either within the bill or by the City of McAllen to assure farmers that they will be taken care of in the same manner that they've been taken care of in the past?
Well, we in fact think that the commodity price of Class B rights will go up because we will be dealing with the conversion of water to municipal rights.
What about to the 12? What about to the 13 farmers that the water district says that they're serving at this point in time? Anything specific to those 13 farmers?
You know what, Ron? Those farmers are our citizens, and it doesn't change. That citizen.
You're nodding your head there, Mayor. You agree?
Well, absolutely, they're our customers. We want to take care of our customers as we take care of anyone.
Exactly. And when they call with an issue or problem or concern, we're going to deal with them like we deal with every other of our 39,000 customers that we currently serve.
The chairman of the board of the Hidalgo County Water Control and Improvement District Number 3, Otho Brand Jr., comments that he thinks also that Valley agriculture producers have been left out of the discussion and the debate.
You've had the city's participation, you've had the irrigation district's participation, but you have not had the farmers and the producers' participation in this bill in a major way.
So you're telling me there were meetings, you did meet with farmers, growers, ranchers, and others who are actually the consumers from these water districts out the Rio Grande Valley. So you would disagree with what he said?
Ron, this issue of the conversion bill has been up in the legislature just like the District 3. And it was sent back, and it was requested that we put this task force together. We put a memorandum of understanding together. We signed it, and we dealt in good faith. This does not impact the farmer. The conversion bill does not impact the farmer, and it should be an agreement between political subdivisions that have the most to gain and the most to lose, and those are municipalities and irrigation districts.
Leo Montalvo, Otho Brand Sr., on the same water district, they appeared on this program in an archived edition to tell you and I that they're now working together on the same page rather than being adversaries. You want to go to valleynewsline.tv, you can see that interview. What would you say regarding their comments, their opposition, Mayor, and the fact that there has been ongoing negotiations apparently between the City of McAllen and the Water District for a long period of time, maybe even predating the service of Mayor Brand and Mayor Montalvo?
I have said with Chairman O.E. Brand, and says, look, here's our goal, here's what we're trying to accomplish. You take the document that I would sign and approve today, you take it and you modify it any way that you want to, and then we'll continue negotiating, and hopefully somewhere in the future, shortly thereafter, we'll reach a point that you will feel that you can sign it, I will feel it sign. Do you know how many times we've gotten a response from them after giving them that document? Zero, not a single one. We've given them our redemption of what we would want to see. They've not given us one back. So what does that mean, Ron? I don't know. But again, I'm very proud of our legislators that are bringing forward this bill in Austin.
CHIP funding is now passed out of the Texas House, moving its way over the Texas Senate. If you want more on that, go to valleynewsline.tv. Thank you both. Roy, thank you, Mayor, for being on Valley Newsline. Till next time, next week, adios.